What is up, everyone? So, the decade of 2010 to 2020 has been an amazing year for everything anime, comics, whatever you desire. However, 2020 has also been a good decade for webtoons. So, in this video, I'm going to start doing a series rather of top 10s of this decade. What are those top 10s? Haven't thought of them yet, but definitely top 10s before we get into the new year with new amazing webtoons. Off the bat, I'll say that webtoons have made amazing leaps, not just line webtoons, but other webtoon platforms, and they have gained a lot of popularity over the years. And I'm glad to know where they started, to see where they are today. It warms my heart up a lot. But without that being said, let's get into the video. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 powerfulest moments in webtoon decades so far. Now I'll say two things. There are major spoilers out there, so if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, watch the webtoon and come back to this video. If you don't really care, stick to it. Two, I haven't read every webtoon from every media, even though I would love to. So your favorite one may not make the list. Again, this is only to the knowledge of what I've read so far. With that being said, let's get into the video. At number 10, we have Bogum's reveal, A Good Day to Be a Dog. This is rather new, I'll admit, but it's still powerful nevertheless. Bogum, from the majority of the series, always proved to be a very positive upbringer, kind of wingman character to Sion. Until recently, where he starts showing his true side. I also liked how he flipped from being very happy to energetic to very serious and cutthroat. He was always revealed as a wild card in the middle of the series, where we find out that he has a spirit inside of him, rather that he is actually the mountain spirit that has cursed Hana Yu's family. Upon reading this, I actually dropped my jaw because I wasn't really expecting to see Bogum as the main antagonist of the final arc of A Good Day to Be a Dog. And a lot of my top picks will be based off of how surprised I truly was, and even how surprised the community was as well. But definitely Good Day to Be a Dog deserves to be on this list. It's at number 10. That means other more powerful moments happen as well. At number 9, Let's Date, Devil Number 4. A rather new webtoon series, but it has piqued my interest quite a lot because its intake on romance and love is a little different because of how different the characters are. The devil and a human, how will this play out? We just have to keep reading to find out. But what's very important about this scene was that I didn't really know it was a romance webtoon until he actually revealed, hey, let's date so I can find out what makes you tick. And upon seeing this surprising and this statement, I was very happy, relieved, and nervous at the same time. One, because we can cut to the chase, and this is basically about two people dating, but also two, about how will the dynamic of these two relationships pan out. One is a devil, one's a human. One is about greed, the other one is really about surviving. So it'll be interesting to see how these two people tick and how their relationship grows, whether it be romantically or even just as friends. It'll be very interesting to see, but definitely this moment was a very shocker to me personally, and I hope it was to you too. At number 7, activation of the Thorn. You knew Tower of God was going to be in this, so why not even bother? Fortunately, it's very low on the list, so that shows you that there are other more powerful scenes that happen in the webtoon decade. I guess you could call it that. So anywho, the Thorn strikes to me most. Well, one, Tower of God has been a long-running webtoon series that it's really hard to pick really super key drastic moments that happened. But if I have to pick among the plethora that are existed, it would be when Bam activates the Thorn for the first time. We all knew that Bam had a lot of potential to be very strong and powerful than even that of King Jihad himself. But activating the Thorn really proved it. It was the first milestone to prove it. And for us fans who were really taken aback by Rachel's actions, and we didn't know what happened to Bam. And after the 5-year gap, this was really a breath of fresh air to see. It started a precedent of how strong Bam was going to be to come, and how his potential is just limitless and effortless, and he will continue to go higher and higher as the Webtoon series and as time goes by. And the Thorn, which is basically a first starting point for that. When I was reading it, when I first started getting into Tower of God, I was already very intrigued by the story, and especially about what happened with Bam, that when the Thorn was activated for the first time. And this is when I wasn't following up with it. It was very amazing, and it kept me wanting to turn pages. But definitely, again, Tower of God is an amazing series, and if you're not checking it out, you're sleeping. At number 6, we have Crumbles' Betrayal. Okay, this is was very obvious, but it still was very interesting to see how he was going to betray everyone in the end. We all knew that Crumble had a lot of cards under his sleeve, and we knew that he was very much of a trickster. But I like characters, again, I personally like characters who are behind the scenes, who are really pulling their, they're like the puppet masters in a way. That's why I liked Miss Rose from I Love You, because she was a puppet master who was organizing her sons. But nevertheless, seeing Crumbles' betrayal, especially after everything that Rai and his group went through, was definitely a delight, and definitely got us more intrigued as the series ushered in its final arcs. At number 5, we have The Awakening of the Monkey King, God of High School. Now, this again is another old Webtoon series, but out of all of the scenes that I would have to pick, it would be when the Monkey King was fully awakened. The main character, Jim Mori, always loved a good fight, and he wanted to use his own power to beat everyone rather than anything else. So when the Chuyok, or borrowed power, came into play, he found himself not having any desire to use borrowed power, which basically you borrow power from gods, to find out that he was actually a god that was so destructive that he had to be sealed away. So as this arc ushered is critical point where Tekto Jal was about to basically, kill everyone in the entire series, Jim Mori unleashes his latent and hidden abilities and become the all-powerful mighty Monkey King, which, trust me, he was very strong. I think what made this scene more interesting is how it was coupled with the surprise of a new ability like Shonen, but then actually him fighting in the action was also enticing. Also, the fact that when you reach his past, which is, I think, maybe the same as the Monkey King in the real story, I'm not sure, but when you really enter the past of the Monkey King as he gains his memories, you find out a lot of stuff about how trash of a king he really was, and how he feels so bad about what he did to his people. All in all, Awakening of the Monkey King was definitely a class A moment for me, and definitely deserves to be on this list. At number 4, we have Queen Vel and Milori, Mage and the Demon Queen. Now, this is, again, one of my favorites. I would definitely dare to put it in my top 10 for favorite Webtoons of all times, for so many reasons, which I've already said in several videos prior. But it was very heartwarming to see all of Milori's actions about how she's daunting over the Demon Queen. She just wants her attention and to be there for it. It was really nice to see how after all the work she put into, genuinely, that Queen Vel finally gets not only a soft spot for the young little mage, but also allows her company in her home. It really shows a lot about how maybe there is hope when we play the game called love, and it probably is hope if you keep trying. Not to a creepy point, of course, but if you really love someone, those feelings will show. And even though Queen Vel now still acts like a tsundere, unfortunately, she still has a lot more compassion and love for Milori now than she ever did in the first series, and it was really good to see that really show in the last episode of the first season. At number 3, we have At number 3, we have John's ability, unordinary. I have to put this one on the list because it shocked the webtoon community when we actually find out that John has abilities, but moreover, John's ability is stronger than that of anyone in the series, which again, I still believe there is something else to that, but that's not the video for this right now. We were all tricked to believe that John just had no abilities. Well, as of course, the synopsis says he has no powers. We obviously believe he has no powers. Until later in the Webtoon series where it's revealed that John is hiding his powers because he was a cold, ruthless king in his old school. He was so bad that they even expelled him, promised to never come back again. We all knew that he had powers at some point, but him actually using and seeing it was a breath to behold. He is also not only very powerful, but very intelligent and very knowledgeable on how to use his ability. And that showed as he took 3 high-ranking ability users all at once and pretty much didn't break a sweat. Cold, ruthless, powerful, tyrannical. This definitely was a practical webtoon moment. And as I always said, there are always mediums of webtoons and anime that unite communities together. And the one thing I do like about Unordinary is that it did unite a community and it increased webtoon popularity a little bit. Now, there are other webtoons that have done it too. I just saw a lot more of its success with Unordinary. But definitely, I had to put on the list. John's ability reveal in the first season of the series was definitely a top tier moment in Webtoons this decade. At number 2, we have Haru's death, Days of Hana. This tears me up a lot for a lot of reasons because Days of Hana actually just ended recently and it was a roller coaster of a ride. Days of Hana became a webtoon in which I can't recommend to even younger kids anymore. It is a very adult and mature anime, not because of the blood and gore that happened prior, but also because of just the themes of prejudice and racism that are prevalent in the works of the author. Again, he did Orange Marmalade. Same premise. You get the point. But Haru's death wasn't really all of how powerful this scene was. It was the fact that he was actually as strong as his brother Hook, and he was actually a chromatic werewolf who gained ability by the moon. Upon seeing all of these reveals and how he uses his ability to kill the final boss of the series, how he dies protecting the person that he loves, not be able to love the one that he loves, how Hana just mentally broke down because her decisions caused her to die, she feels, was all very much too much for me to handle at a certain point, and I knew it was for the community as well. Definitely the author of Days of Hana has done amazing work and has shown us in fictional characters how powerful these themes are and how forbidden love can be at times. And definitely Haru's death was a showcase for that, but also too, Haru's death was a small step towards a bigger goal, which is very heartfelt, but it's very, very sad that his life only gave them one step. At number 1, what I feel was the best webtoon moment of the year, was of the decade, has to be Declaration of War, Dice. I will always say this as I mention Dice. Dice is a underrated webtoon that you definitely need to check out. It is so powerful. If you love Days of Hana, you would definitely like Dice because they focus on pretty much the same themes. Whereas Days of Hana is about how racism and prejudice play along. But Dice really shows about how greed and envy and lust really plays in the world and how people are so power hungry that they're willing to do anything. The Declaration of War was definitely a top moment for me because I remember, and I was still probably in college still, when I was first reading Dice and the speech that X says as the dice are basically brought out to their school and eventually it's going to spread out to the world was absolutely perfect. X is an amazing character because X is neither good nor bad, which you'll hear me say again. X simply just wanted to play a game and his twisted mind took it that far. He doesn't really care who gets hurt a lot so long as it's fun, and that clearly was his statement in this message. The statement I always have said as follows: I have not come to bring peace to this world, but a sword. And a sword he did bring, as chaos would ensue in the school, in Dante's life, and eventually the rest of the world. This definitely was a jaw-dropper, big surprise. I couldn't wait to read the next chapter webtoon. And again, if you're not watching it, definitely this is worth checking out. The series is still ongoing, but it's a reveal that it is our last season. So after this ends, pretty much Dice will be over. So check it out, before it ends, or check it out when it ends. It's up to you. But definitely this is my top pick of the best webtoon moment in the decade. And that is my video. Again, we've had some amazing stuff that happened and I couldn't get to all of it. But if you feel that there was a moment that was better than what I have described, please put it in the comments. That's what it's for. It helps me out a lot here. And there will be other top 10 videos coming out in the future, so be on the lookout for that. Again, talk with me, communicate with me. This has been an amazing decade for webtoons. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a like and a subscribe, but also like and subscribe to your creators, because that helps them out a lot, even though it's small. With that being said, I thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.